Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Doctor's Notes podcast by Doc's Castle Media, a podcast I created to share the notes of one of my favorite reality shows ever, Big Brother USA. I'm your host, Doc, and I'm here to talk BP perspective from Doc's point of view. So here we go. Welcome. We are now on episode 9 of the Doctor's Notes podcast. Thank you guys for listening. Your continuation to continue to tune in is a pleasure to have. I love it. Thanks, everyone. Today's episode is the HOH competition. This is our third HOH competition this season that we are watching, and I guess we're getting deeper and deeper into our game, where we're finding out even more information, or the gameplay is starting to really get interesting to watch now that we start to know more people's personalities and more people's strategies and getting cutthroat throughout the season. It's getting better. And that's what we like, because as time goes forward and as the game continues to keep on playing, we will see people continue to try to cut each other's head off. Or, I just feel as though as the game is going on in this season, we won't see everyone just play the house the further we go in the game. Maybe we're getting rid of those people who want to play by numbers at the start of the game, and then the closer that we get into the middle of the game, we'll actually see more strategy. Who knows? But I ultimately thought that because we have older people this season, that we'll see more strategy. And it's turning out that I think that's the fact. That's what's happening, because the older people are dominating the game. So let's begin where we left off last week, or not last week, or actually, I don't know. It's been so many episodes. Do I want to say last week? Last episode. Where we left off last episode was actually Riley was evicted from the Big Brother house. She left. It was sadness. Everybody was just like, we didn't know how strong the other side of the house, the handful side of the house, would be with Riley's departure. All I know is that the last episode, or what it looks like with the reign of Hisam, it looks like basically the older people are dominating the game this season. But we also had some people that had some problems with Hisam's reign last week, according to the episode. As we saw in the last episode, Suri didn't like Hisam's speeches throughout the week. When it came to his veto speech, and when he decided to put people on the block, he's very, aggressive when it comes to his gameplay, and it's rubbing people the wrong way. And so Hisam is coming down from his week-long reign, and the house is ready to go for the HOH win at the beginning of this episode, because they're just trying to knock him off his high horse and possibly get him out of the game, because he is showing to be a major threat. As many competitions that he won last week, why would you keep him in the house? Honestly, we're secretly going after him, and it's looking like it's going to have to be a back door to go after Hisam, because he is so strong. You got to take away some of those, the possibilities of him winning a competition at this point. But either way, we go to our HOH competition, and the competition that we have this go around is from the Humiliverse. Lately we've been having a lot of Scaryverse competitions, and I'm kind of glad that we've moved on to another universe, because after a while you get tired of hearing that Nether Gorgon voice, or you just get tired of the spookiness or that weird sound or whatever they make when they have people come from the Scaryverse. But either way, we've moved on, and we're now at the Humiliverse, and the competition is meant to be humiliating. The name of the competition that we go to this go around is called Snot a Winner, which basically is our usual competition. They usually have this competition at the beginning of each season of the Big Brother game, where it's like a mini golf type of game, where they have this obstacle in front of you, and what the house guests are supposed to do is they're supposed to putt off this golf ball through the obstacles to try to get into what is at the end of the obstacles is a list of numbers, like a Plinko board or something like that, where you have to try to get the ball into the number. Whoever has the highest number or highest score is the one who wins the HOH competition. This game is actually a game of chance. Every time they play this game, it's literally whoever wins, whoever put their ball near the end of the obstacle course, whoever gets the highest number, it is literally a gamble because it's not really too much of a strategy that you can create with this game. Every year, it just is a random person that wins. You could be a physical threat or you could be a mental threat. It doesn't matter in this game at all because it's by chance. So when we see people take turns playing this game, it was like watching anyone's game at that point. They started off with the first person being the putt for the game being Matt, who Matt needed to possibly be the first one to go because he's a wounded animal at this point. Right now, Matt is so wounded now that Riley is out of the house. He's spending his days crying in the house. So, because his late night partner is gone, the person he was the closest to is gone. So he went first in this competition, but had one of the lowest scores in the game, which meant that he didn't really have that much, competition to prove that he could win this at all. It would have been nice if he did win head of household because we all know that Matt would definitely be gunning for Hisam because of what happened with Riley being put out by Hisam. But either way, Matt did not get a high score in this competition, and he's again wounded and not able to avenge his friend. We're just lucky that Hisam was not able to compete in this competition because he's the outgoing HOH. We all know the outgoing HOH doesn't get to play in the next HOH game. So, basically, for Matt's sake, we're happy that Hisam did not compete in this competition. And Hisam is really on his high horse right now because Hisam feels extremely safe whether he's competing or not. Like, I feel as though even though he is out of the HOH competition, he's so trusting of his alliance of the professors that he feels as though as long as somebody from the professors wins, he feels as that he's safe. He thinks that everyone's agreeing with the way that he's playing the game because no one is telling him the truth. No one is being honest about how they think about how he's playing. Playing with an iron fist without listening to anybody's considerations and opinions while they're playing this game. No one is giving him leeway that they don't like the way that he's playing. So he thinks he's completely safe. But the people that really, it seemed like, who came pretty close to beating this game, the Snyder winner, it really didn't matter. Because the winner of the game was Miss Felicia. Felicia was the big winner of the game with a score of 53, 53 being the highest number that was putted to during the game. So 63-year-old woman putted a 53 and basically put herself as the winner of the HOH. And Felicia was extremely excited to win this competition because it actually proves that she is an asset to her alliance. And remind you, she's into two alliances at this moment, which is the professors and the bye-bye bitches. She has shown that she is an asset to both of those alliances by becoming this week's HOH. She's definitely a valuable asset of the team. Along with her win, of course, they had to create some type of humiliation throughout the episode or for this week for them to have some type of entertainment for us viewers to watch. Because she is the winner of the competition, she has a humiliating reward this go around. Her humiliating reward is to be slimed every time the BB snot o'clock bell is blown within 24 hours. So she has to pick someone to join her every time she is to be slimed as well. So she's not the only one that's being slimed. But within the 24 hours, once you hear the BB snot o'clock bell being rung, she has to stop everything that she does to go outside to basically stand in her nostril and have snot dripped all over her. It is humiliating because you have to stop what you're doing every day or whatever you're doing throughout your time that day within those 24 hours to just be slimed, just to sit under a snot. Sit under a nose and be snotted on. That's disgusting. How many baths do you have to take that day? It's a grace that they're giving for her to choose someone else to go with her, because she's not continually choosing the same person to keep hopping in the shower every time. Like, she literally has to hop in the shower multiple times today to be clean because of this snot. It's a grace that those other people only have to hop in once. Either way, the water bill is high this day because we're constantly washing the snot from this humiliating competition off. Good thing it is for only 24 hours. Could you imagine if it'd be any longer? You wake up in the middle of the night and have to go wash the slime or be slimed in the middle of the night with someone. Honestly, sometimes I don't understand what is the purpose. I guess it's entertain us and make us laugh. But honestly, I could do without this type of entertainment. They didn't have to really put this in the show. Two people with the lowest scores in the Sonata Winner competition also were the have-nots in this episode. I don't really know who. I can't remember who was like the two lowest scores, but because I know that Matt scored a 10, I assume that he's probably one of the lowest scorers and might be a have-not this week. What really sucks is the fact that we don't really get to see what is the other food that they eat this week while they're a have-not. We already know that they eat slop because slop is just a given when you're a have-not. But I miss those times in the Big Brother game where they used to have us vote to decide what they're going to eat as have-nots. And there used to be like two options of the worst things that you could decide to eat, like turnip greens with yogurt or something mixed together, and that on top of it just being slop. I wonder if they even have these options anymore in the house. Do we give them another option to eat other than slop? Is there a dietitian in the house that is deciding to actually still give these people some nutrition, because they lose weight being on slop for weeks? At least give them something with some type of protein and give them something, some strength, another nasty food to go with them, just to give them some nourishment. We don't even get to see that no more being viewers of the show. Do live feeders get to see that? I don't know. Maybe this is something that makes me look into become an actual live feeder, because then maybe I will get to see if they have other things to eat other than slop. I see that pantry room all the time. You see food in the pantry room all the time. Is Matt even allowed, being a have-not, to go in the pantry room this week? That would be a severe rule right there. Like, you are unable to go in the pantry room if you're a have-not. Either way, I miss those segments of the show. They should bring it back. Like, you so busy trying to put all this extra theatrical stuff inside the Big Brother game. Where in the world are we going to actually see more strategic talk, more people on the diary rooms that we don't normally see? And then when are we going to get the have-not entertainment? And why do we have all of these extreme games? The pressure cooker, is a game that we're all looking forward to watching them play, the pressure cooker, because it's such a old game. And we already know that Julie has confirmed that game is coming back. But there are so many other games that we can actually put into the Big Brother game now that I feel like still would be interesting to watch, because you'll get to see people start talking strategic strategies while they're playing the game, instead of us just continually watching them compete in these endurance competitions. I remember that there used to be games back in the day where we had a game where players would sit in a car and they had to be in the car. Whoever was the last person to be in the car was a person that won the head of household. They had to be cramped in a car. It would be multiple people, maybe like 8 people in one car, just in there. You couldn't use the bathroom, you couldn't eat, you couldn't do nothing. And the last person to be in the car was the head of household and the winner. And then we could just top it off. The person who's left in the car win the car. What's up with that? Why can't we have competitions like that in the Big Brother house? That reminds me of The Price is Right a little bit, giving away things like that. We need to have that in the Big Brother house. More incentives to make people battle each other out. I miss that. The pressure cooker is similar. You're standing up. You can't use the bathroom. You basically are just standing in this little glass box to be the last person. But it would be cool to have the incentive to be sitting in a car, and whoever is the last person in the car wins head of household, and you win the car. That would be cool. What happened to those type of things in the Big Brother house, huh? We getting cheap? I think that's what it is. We getting cheap, and the people who are casting or working in production aren't really truly looking back at shows and picking the old games. We're recycling these games and changing the themes of what these games are, making them humiliating scary birds, but we're not changing the actual game and making it accessible and easy to play for everyone. No, we're not. But anyway, I'm done my little rant about how the games are at the moment. I miss it. While we watch this, even though Felicia has won, I did notice that in this Not a Winner competition, there were 2 people that piqued my interest, that I think through the competition. And do I think that they are worthy players of throwing the competition at this time? I really do think that the decision at the time to throw the competition was smart out of these 2 players. And those 2 players that threw the competition this week was Sari and Corey. Sari, she threw the competition because she sees there is so many people that were willing to go after Hisam that she doesn't want to be the one to put blood on her hands to get rid of him. So, even though she did get like a high score at the time of her competing in the competition, it wasn't high enough to basically make her win. Felicia won because she had the high score, but Sari, basically, she showed that she was competing, but not to the point where it looked like she was really literally throwing it out. So she did throw the competition because she didn't want to be the one to win and have those type of responsibilities. And Corey was the second person that I've noticed also throw this competition as well. Corey didn't want to win the competition because he doesn't want to show his cards at this time. He doesn't want to be the one to show his decisions, make any decisions in front of people. He doesn't want people to know what he's thinking in the house just yet, which I feel like is a smart decision. Like, you really shouldn't want people to really know your cards at the beginning of the game. So those people that are floating actually are at a good place at the beginning of the game. Honestly, though, the safest person might be Miko. Miko might be the safest person. I don't know any of her strategy except for that she's working on the professor side of the house, and that's it. Like, you don't know who she would put on the block. It might be somebody on the other handful side of the house, but we don't necessarily know her cards. And I think she's at a very good place in the house right now, how she's playing. But when it comes to Corey and Sari, like, I think I kind of know where Corey would pick to go onto the block. but at the same time, you kind of don't. He has his cards not being revealed. He's playing literally both sides of the house because he has relationships with both sides of the house and he's very close with speaking to a few people, honestly. But we know that um, wherever his cards plays, he's playing them very close to Izzy and Sari at this point because I think that he knows how they're playing. He's recognizing the shots that's being called by certain people, and I think his decision to throw the competition is saving him from letting other people know what he already is finding out from others in the house. He doesn't want to have that same type of target on him. Honestly, Sari and Izzy are becoming targets amongst other people if we can see them how they're speaking their strategy. You know, if anyone else in the house can see how the people outside of the house see Izzy and Sari talking strategy, which I feel like Corey being one of those people, seeing that, it's a smart move for him to throw the competition and not put his cards out there so that they will see him just like we see them. Would I say that this is going to make them the MVP player of the Doctor's Notes podcast? I wouldn't say that Sari and Corey are MVP players in this episode. The MVP player of this episode to me is Felicia because when she's calling people into her head of household to talk during this episode, it seems so seamless. It seems like everyone is so willing to agree and go with what she says. Miss Felicia has the cult of personality in the house right now. She can get anyone to open up to her with ease. You can see how when she had came into the head of house, and you look at people's head of household interviews, they are so comfortable coming in talking to her. Look, as an example, Felicia told Cameron that she put him on the block and sat closer to him. They damn near was cuddling on the couch in the HOH room after she told him that he was going to be on the block. Now, don't tell me that that's not the cult of personality. Somebody telling me that I'm going on the block and I'm cuddling with you? What? That woman is off the chain. That makes me say that she is the MVP player of this week because that lady, if she could get somebody to just basically be that cool about being put on the block as a pawn, yeah, she got some powers. The older ladies got some powers. The bye-bye bitches got some powers right now. We all know that Felicia's main target this week has got to be Hisam. She loves Hisam to death. She's working with him and the professors, but Felicia mentions that Hisam comes to talk game to her, and the way he talks is very assertive and aggressive, and it's hard to talk game with him because whatever he says goes. When you have somebody who thinks that way, it's hard to play a game with him, and Felicia knows that. And she also knows that he's a very strong competitor. He wins competitions. So when it comes down to it, she knows that he will have to be backdoored in order to get him out of the house. She knows this when she talks to Sari and Izzy. When they come to her and try to talk about the type of plan that they feel that the bad bitches should go on with, Felicia knows. She knows that Hisam is a threat, and she already knows how he communicates and where the house is divided when it comes to that. She wants to know if it's her best interest, though, for her game, to put that type of thing on her resume. And honestly, I think that getting rid of Hisam is a good decision for Felicia and her resume. The question is it really going to be on her resume or is it going to be on any other bye-bye bitch's resume? Because Izzy and Sari are the ones that's coming to Felicia with this idea as well. Even though I have no doubt in my mind that Felicia has these thoughts on her own to get rid of Hisam without the thoughts of Izzy and Sari, because she can see how Hisam is playing with her own two eyes. She can see that it's not an agreeable gameplay. So the question is, like, is she really going to have that on her resume when she gets rid of Hisam? Or is it going to be is Sari going to play this game so hard that her input is going to go, her input from telling Felicia, is it going to go to Felicia or not? Or is it going to just go on Sari's resume? Because she also provoked that by bringing it up. Who knows? Or is it going to go on Izzy's resume? What if Izzy make your father just from playing this game? And you never know. It all depends on the end of the game speech, for real. Because Felicia can switch it any type of way. Sari, Izzy, all of them can switch it any type of way. Regardless, the bye-bye bitches got this on their resume if they get Hisam out. But I want to say that I definitely want to point out the fact that Felicia is MVP when it comes to talking to Hisam about him being one of the, she didn't even tell Hisam. My bad. What I'm about to say is telling him that he's about to be a threat. She didn't tell him about to be a threat. Hisam goes to Felicia just to tell him his input about the game from his week of being HOH, but it doesn't matter what he tells Felicia how the game is being played on the decision and the best decisions for the professors, because Felicia knows that this is her HOH and she gets to make the decision at the end of the day. She knows that she has to make him believe that he's a mastermind so he doesn't ruffle any feathers, though. Because if you let someone who is that high horse on the pedestal know that they possibly are wrong, it could make him feel uncomfortable and start to target her later on. It might not really work. I can understand her not wanting to provoke any confrontation between the two of them when it comes to that. But what is so refreshing about everything in all of this is the fact that these are older folks and they know these things and they know how to communicate with each other better than younger people. So while we're watching them make these decisions, they're going in the dining room telling us how they really feel. And we get to literally watch it, because just like Red said in a few episodes ago, that older folks are very sure of themselves when it comes to making decisions. We see this in this gameplay. Like, they're so, like, the older folks, it's like they make the decision on who they're going to go after and they sticking to it. It's not no wavering. There's no wavering anywhere. Maybe last week when we was about to be, trying to decide whether who would get out the house between Riley and Cameron, it was some wavering. But for the most part, everybody knew that Riley would get out. And they didn't want to ruffle feathers with Hisam. That's old folks' decisions right there, understanding that that's better for their game. And the rest of the house followed suit because they just didn't want it to be put out on blast as being the other people on the other side of the house. So who making the good decisions? For me, the people that's making the best decisions, the most stable decisions, are the older folks. They really, because they are secure in what they know. That's what it looked like. It looks like they are secure in the decisions of what they know in this game. The status of the alliances I want to bring up now is that I would say that the professors, they're still the head of the house at the moment, because it's just a bigger alliance outside of that side of the house. That side of the house is broken down into many other segments. So while we have the professors being very strong, the alliance that seems to be the most superior, though, is the bye-bye bitches from that side, because they just seem to be working closely together. And the bye-bye bitches is everybody else in the professors except for the guys, which is Red and Hisam. So all the women that are on the other side of the house, or the older folks side of the house, have an alliance themselves, the bye-bye bitches, and they reign superior. Another alliance that seems to be seems to be forming that is a showmance, because you know all showmances are alliances, but this one might be a little different. I don't know, because based off of what I've been seeing on Twitter lately, and we'll discuss that. But the Baba bitches, not the Baba, but the showmance that seems to be appearing is between Jared and Blue, and they've been doing a little flirting, a little flirtmance going on. So we see that could possibly create some issues between Suri and Jared later, because Blue is not in the professors or the Baba bitches. She's actually on the handful side of the house. So if Jared decides to work closely with Blue, that is going to be causing some issues with his mom. Whatever mom says goes, because obviously it's your mom. So we'll see how far Blue and Jared go in this game. And we already see how the handful at this moment, the status of their alliance is crumbling. There doesn't seem like there is going to be anyone to keep that alliance together. Riley was the rock. She was the one that kind of helped them stick together. That she just was cool like that, I guess. But that alliance is definitely dwindling away. So possibly where I see the house going at this point, I don't think that the handful of the other side of the house are going to reign strong until someone actually wins a competition. So far, we had 2 head of households from the professor side of the house win. So their side of the house is seemingly very strong at the moment. But as I see the house going, I am just biased to the fact that I like watching older people play. So honestly, I think the house is going to go in their favor as long as they keep on playing them the way they do. And I feel like I do agree a little bit with what Hisam was saying in the last episode when he was trying to decide or create strategies for the professor's team. So he said that everyone in the professors needs to get a little buddy outside of themselves. I agree with that strategy. But because he talks with so much absorption and it's causing people to not like it, no one's going to agree with that little buddy theory. So I don't think anyone's going to go out and try to find other buddies. They're just going to play how they're playing comfortably right now and watching all those young people squirm. Now, I would be very intrigued and I would enjoy if Cameron actually won HOH. And if Jag actually won HOH on the other side of the house, I would be interested in seeing who would they put on the block. Because if we already getting rid of Hisam from the people on their own side, the professor's taking out one of their own players, the other side of the house, who is going to become the threat? Who is going to be the one that's going to be put out? The threat, I agree with Suri, will become Suri. The threats will become Suri and Izzy. Maybe more so Izzy, because how Izzy is so outspoken and out there more than Suri is. Izzy might be the threat. But to me, the two of them, once Hisam gone, that's who's the threat to me in the house. And I wonder if anyone on the other side sees that as well. So let's move on to Twitter updates, because I want to get y'all to understand, like, even though we're watching this game from the CBS Big Brother perspective and based off of what they decide to show us, I do want to give my listeners a few little insights about what I see on Twitter, because, like I said, it's a whole different type of game than what we see on television. So this week, what I've been watching since the last episode on Twitter is, though we have seen that there is a new alliance building between Jared and Blue, or this showmance developing between Jared and Blue, is it truly a serious showmance? What I've been seeing on Twitter is Jared is a jerk. He's a jerk based off of how he views women. Basically, there is a group of people that get really upset when they hear men call women females. Jared is one of those guys who labels women as females. Um, and it ruffles a few feathers on Twitter with women. His thoughts in conversations that he has with Blue about dating has come out on live feeds, and there are so many women that are bashing Jared and hoping that Blue does not like him. But who knows? We don't see any diary sessions outside of the live feeds. Um, but all I know is that people are really upset with Jared at this moment, so they think that he's a jerk. But I think that Jared is just young. He's in his 20s. He's living his life. What do they expect him to really know so far if he hasn't lived that much life? When it comes to dating. So when it comes to his opinions on dating women and how many women that he can sleep with, or how many men that a woman should sleep with, or anything like that, when it comes to those perspectives, what can you expect from someone who's so young? They don't really know that much. They have so much life to experience. So a lot of the opinions that he may have may seem elementary to people who have lived life and experienced life. So I see that we can stop calling him a jerk and just call him Jared. He's just being Jared, trying to date a girl in the house, trying to woo someone in the house and learn about her, how she thinks as well. Also, on Twitter, I've noticed that there has been a slew of people who love Felicia. It's looking like Felicia might be America's player this year. The way that people talk about her on Twitter and how excited we get that she won. Everyone is calling her Mama Felicia. They're calling her Miss Felicia. And that's what's funny to me, because everybody in the house calls Miss Felicia Miss Felicia. Like, you always got that respect that you put, for older folks. So you gotta put that title in front of her name, Miss, because you gotta show the respect that you have. But it's cool to see all of America doing it on Twitter. So I feel like she's definitely looking like she's America's favorite house guest based on the excitement that we see as she's won HOH this year. Definitely voting for her when it comes down to time to vote for America's favorite player. I'm definitely voting for Miss Felicia. She was cool. Um, and then I also see on Twitter that people are so pressed on having all girl lines. Like, people are still complaining about the fact that they feel like an all girl lines is never gonna happen in the Big Brother house. But I don't think people realize that the Bye Bye Bitches is an all girl alliance. I mean, maybe because Izzy is throwing people a little bit off, but it is an all girl alliance in the house. The Bye Bye Bitches, who are thriving, and like I said, to me, seems to be the strongest alliance in this household so far. So I don't understand why people are getting so upset over the fact that they don't think that there is an all girl alliance when there truly is an all girl alliance going on in the Big Brother house. That's cool. For the first time, it might be that an all girl alliance could make it that far. But it's too early in the game to even determine that. But just be happy with what you got. It might not be a young all girl alliance. I'm just going to sit there and talk and be all girly, like I guess we expect them in our minds to be. But the Bye Bye Bitches seem to be the right type of girl alliance that is going to get far in the Big Brother house. This episode was absolutely great. The Twitter updates that's been going on has been absolutely entertaining to me. And I think that I'm going to wrap up this episode right here, because we are getting pretty long. And I don't even want to listen to this as long as it gets my own self, if it gets any longer. So let's wrap this up. Today we've talked about the HOH competition. We talked about Hisam's fall from the rank. We talked about how Matt is so wounded now that Riley is gone. We talked about the status of each alliance in the house currently at the moment. We talked about the Humiliverse and the competitions that we do not get to see anymore now that we are in this current era of Big Brother. We don't see these old games anymore. We also talked about the MVP player of this game or this episode being Miss Felicia because she has the cult of personality. Um, we talked about the Twitter updates and what you guys been talking about on Twitter. And pretty much that is the episode. So I thank you guys for tuning in, and I will speak to you guys again next time when the next competition happens, which will be the veto competition on Wednesday. So peace out. Thank you so much for tuning into the Doctor's Notes podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if you found value in what you heard today, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. For more updates and Doc's Castle content, follow me on my social media. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Doc's Castle. If you have any questions, suggestions, or topics that you'd like to cover in future episodes, feel free to reach out to me via email at docscastlemediainfo@gmail.com. Remember, your support means the world to me, and I'm grateful to have you as a listener. But until next time, peace out.